Hey everybody, I'm here at our home place this morning and going to pour a little bit of concrete. I don't know if you remember this carport that I built probably maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. I wanted to get concrete in it and insulate it. Well, once I got it stood up, it turned into a catch-all really quick. So trying to get it straightened up, concrete in it, and cover the walls and make it a little more usable space. So last weekend I poured some concrete here with one of my grandsons. Didn't do any videoing, but anyway, we got that poured, and I don't know, you can see a line there where this is darker and this is all really a white looking color. I think I know the reason for that, and I'll show you here in a little while. But I'm going to get busy right now and get another form in right here and pour about a 4.5 foot piece again. And I'm just doing this in sections that I can manage myself and pour with my little mixer out here. And it's hot in here too. This is a cooler day and it's a warm building. I intend to get some windows put in and stuff, but that's a little bit farther down the line for us. But today I'm going to go ahead and get this cleaned up. And I did run some rebar out the last time. They actually have concrete dug down under them, so they are part of this floor. And I got them bent up. They'll tie this floor to that one. And I'll do the same thing on the frame when we get over here to tie this one in. And I've got some steel to put in here. So it'll be a good solid floor. It's only going to be about 3 inches thick out in the middle. I'm not pouring it real heavy because there's never going to be a vehicle or anything on it. I just want a good place that I can sweep and roll my welder around a little bit and things like that. So anyway, I'm gonna get at it. So I'm coming down in here to some of my junk and gonna get some rebar. I don't know where these come from, but I need about 4 of them. So they could have came from something I hauled in, or one of my brothers, or even my dad from 20 years ago. He's been gone for 20 years, but some of this accumulation is his leftovers. But it's really handy to have around. And I know some people may not like that at all, but it sure is handy if you got a spot to put it where nobody can see it. My problem is my wife can see it every time she drives home, and she don't like it. So I'm thinking of getting some more bigger junk to put a line right through there so she can't see the little junk. So I'm thinking that 2 or 3 big junky items is better than a whole bunch of smaller junky items. And I like big things, so may get to work at that. I gotta get my rebar. I laid them down. Let's see. So my goal here is to get about a 3 inch of concrete, except for around the edges. And I'm gonna go a little deeper. These rebar that we went down and got out of the junk, I put a little bit of a bend in them, and they're gonna set up under here like this and come into that concrete. And that way I don't have to put holes in my 2x4. I can just pull it out and bend them back up like I did those over there, and I'll pour a little extra concrete right in those areas around it, And then in the middle it'll be about 2.5. Around the edges it'll be 4 to 5 inches. Mainly because I want it to go up under the steel tubing. I want some of it to go back under that and then some on top of it, so it'll be cased with concrete. And then I've got some more. Welded wire from, I believe that goes back to some goat pens that we had years ago, more goats. So I've got that out of the scrap down there too a little bit ago. So I'm going to cut them and lay them all in here, get these in place, grade that a little bit better, and then we're going to start with some concrete. I got our scrap pieces of steel in here, rebar in, forms in, dug out a little bit deep all the way around. Got these all poked up through these pieces of steel that go under this piece of concrete. And I'm gonna have to go to town and get some more concrete. I've got a few bags I'm gonna dump in there first. But I think the reason this is darker than this is because I poured this, I mixed every batch in the mixer and poured that, and then I decided just to dump some in here because Lazy Joe took over for a little while, and I just dumped a bunch, about 7 or 8 bags in there, and dry, and then I just hosed them down, and then I dumped the other concrete on them. So you can see that line right here. That was my line of dry concrete. So I had about 1.5 inches to 2 inches on top of it. And what that dry line is, or not dry line, actually what it is less concrete, because when I hosed it down, I probably hosed it too much and it washed those rocks. And that concrete went on down, the powder did, off the rocks. And then I dumped this on top of it. And it's hard, it's solid. And even down here it's good. These were in the powder and they were tight. I had to hammer them up. And anyway, I'd say that just to say this, I think that's why that white line is there. This concrete, the dry concrete below it just sucked all the moisture out of it quicker probably than what that is. That might still be a little green from a week ago. I don't know, something like that, I think. So what I'm going to do in here is I have 6 bags left over from last week. I'm going to go ahead and work them in around the edges and under the steel, and make sure I get the steel where I want it, the depth. And then I'm going to go to town and get some more concrete, come back and hose it down, and then pour on top of it. And then that way I'm only pouring a couple inches. It's a lot less mixing, and it's a lot quicker when you're trying to do an area like this and wanting to get back to it and finish it. I was really concerned when I was doing that. It was going pretty slow, and I was afraid that this would be needing to be worked pretty hard and I would still be over here trying to pour. But it speeded it up. It took half the time to do it. Of course, I was mixing half the batches. So, and I think it's just fine, because a lot of people dry pour it. I know my dad, when I was a kid, I went with him and we would set corner posts in this stuff, and he would just fill the hole with concrete, dry, and pack it in and cover it with dirt. And 40 years later, I own that piece of property, and when I went to replace fence, that concrete was in there hard as a rock, and you could tell those posts never did move. So it works pretty well that way. So I think just putting it in dry is going to be just fine. It's going to be just fine for this application anyway. I don't know that I would want to do it everywhere, but in here it's not going to matter that much. So I'm going to get to pouring a little bit here of dry stuff. Okay, I'm gonna got that in there where my got my steel raised up, so I know there's concrete under it. I'm gonna wet that down really well. Then I'm gonna bring the mixer in here and just start dumping, mixing and dumping across there. So that was 7 bags. I may dump a few more in there when I get another load up here, but I think it's gonna work out just fine that way. So 7 bags, that's about 3 mixes that I don't have to do. We're still pouring concrete, but we're getting down to the last run of it. I poured it in 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be the 5th section because 20 and 25 bags is all I want to deal with at a time by myself. And so what I've been doing is I get it graded where I want it. Fortunately, this time only thing I had to form up was the outside at the ramp. But I've dumped about 3 or 4 bags of dry in here and got the rebar up off the ground. And I know that it's going to be up in the concrete now. And so that's kind of where we're at, pouring this last section. And we'll be ready to possibly put some insulation in it one of these days. I don't know that we'll do that now. We may get back to work on the other place finally. It's been a few months, but we had things to do here, so we've been doing them. So we'll knock that down and back to mixing.
And we're gonna watch him.
You don't have to. You can shovel.
I could shovel?
Yeah.
Well, I can do that. Do you want me to?
No, I don't want you to mess up your pretty little hands. I'd rather give you a hard way to go about not.
Uh-huh. I know.
It's more fun that way. That way. Let me see, what did I do with that thing? Here it is. This is always a little bit right here at this entrance. I poured it first and it's on a slope, so it's going to take some patience and a little extra work. We got this side in decent shape, but it always wants to settle to the lowest point. Thanks to Newton for discovering gravity.
It's all his fault, huh?
It's all his fault. That's all right. It comes in handy sometimes. Anyway, we're gonna kind of a slow go. You have to dump a batch and work it just a little. Dump a batch and work it a little. But That's better for me than having a big truckload here. I'm not that ambitious at one time. I like short jabs at stuff. So, I'm going to do another short jab here. Probably the worst part of it is the dust. Mm-hmm. Hate the dust.
Yeah. Your little cobalt mixer has been kind of handy, hasn't it?
Yeah. They're $200 or $300 at Lowe's. We bought that at an auction for $75. It has poured a lot of concrete. Not much can go wrong with it. The wheels are getting wore out on it and bent down there. They're leaning in. I need to do a little work on it and strengthen it back up. My little latch is bent. I need to fix that. So.
Well worth the $75 though.
What?
I said well worth the $75 though.
Absolutely. We'll do it again in a heartbeat. I was ready to go buy one for the 200 or whatever. I don't know what they are really.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
We'll look that up. And I'm gonna put the price right here
Okay.
at Lowe's. Bing. It'll hold two 80-pound bags, in case you wonder. My dad had the one that was on a 3-point hitch. It's a lot bigger than that one. And he made a chute to dump gravel into that would just out of the loader bucket, and it would shoot in there, and so much sand you shovel in. Me and my next oldest brother was pretty young at that time. Probably about that tall. And my dad had an old 444 Massey Harrison tractor, Massey Harris tractor. And my brother run that. And my dad, we was both so little, I was too little to run it, but my brother John run it and poured a basement, helped pour a basement on a house. And he did all of the tractor driving for that. But my dad had to put extensions on the clutches and the brakes, about like that, so my brother could drive it. That's how young we were.
But he needed help.
Yeah, he needed help.
And that's how you learn.
That's how you learn. John's, I'm telling how many millions of hours he has in on a machine since then.
Right. I'm very good at it.
Yeah. Pull a disc with that old tractor, and we'd pull it late into the night, and it would, it had a glass pack for an exhaust pipe, and it would turn red. You could see it in the night. It would be so hot it was red.
Really?
Yeah, and shooting a flame out. It was on a hard pull the whole time. Yep.
No. I'm not about your name, but I was going to do. Did I pass? Oh, okay. I see what about. Okay.
So you can see what So I had poured some dry stuff out and just wetted it down where it lays to hold that rebar where it needs to be. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a dry patch there and there because there was a bag right here as well. It just sucks the moisture right out of that. And I had, on a couple of these, I had taken and just dumped a whole bunch of dry in there and wetted it all down. And you can see it from the sides, and it's hard. I think it's going to be just fine. I know it will be on this. I don't know that you'd want to do it on a big shop floor where you have heavy equipment, but on this it worked just fine. And it seems to be hard, but that's the problem, especially with just me doing it. It sucks the moisture out and it makes it too hard to keep up with in places, wherever that's at. So that's what's happened right there. You can just see those. If you're a painter, you'd call that it flashed, because it's dull there now. Shiny everywhere and dull right there. Trying to get that little bit of a hump down here out of it, where it's settled down. We're getting it.
That's looking better.
Wasp.
Wonder you didn't put your hand on it.
to be good enough for the moment.
Okay.
Oh.
Tired?
Yeah, I am. Come out here this evening to give you a look at our finished product because I was editing the video and realized I didn't do an ending to it or show you the finished product. So I have already got it loaded with stuff that needs to be moved out. But anyway, we've got a floor and gradual slope here that the door seals down good on, and concrete's all in everywhere. I've got some sealer that I need to empty it out and have that down on the concrete, and I will get that done. And I've also got some insulation there that I need to get put up on the ceiling and the walls, and then we're going to probably put some kind of something on over that. That's just a 1-inch foam. So it's R3.9, so it'll add to it, but I think it'll make a big difference in here. But anyway, there it is. It's good enough for what we're after. The door seals good, keep stuff out, and lawnmower comes in good. That was one of the main things I wanted to get. And anyway, but right now it all needs to come back out so I can work in there a little bit. But small little shed, but it'll be a lot better and handy when we get some shelves built and stuff like that. So anyway, appreciate y'all coming along and watching our videos, and I want to close this one out and we will catch you on the next one. Thank you.